Well, hi, everybody. This is DearMamaSal, and we're live on a Sunday afternoon, which means it's time for us to talk about coping with stress. And who hasn't got it? I'm going to be having a lot of, hopefully, fun today and hopefully give you some food for thought about, what you are doing to help yourself. We keep waiting for other. I've just realized how well I blend in with my countertop. Sorry, it totally distracted me. I'm going, look at that. It's almost a perfect match. Um, anyway, but what we're going to be talking about is the ripple effect, what it is, why it's so important, and what you can do. Hi, Jonas. Good to see you too. So here we go. Alice, otherwise known as Ace, good to see you from Denmark. And Jeannie, awesome to see you here. And I'm certain that you've got snow on the ground, and I'll be talking about mine in a minute. Because, you expect it in Maine. We don't appreciate it here in Vancouver and British Columbia area. It's just like, really. For those of you who don't know, Dear Mama Sal is not just me. It's a group of people who get together 3 times a week while we go through life. And the most important thing is to realize you're not alone. Whatever it is you're coping with, the chances are somebody else has gone through it or is going through it and has input. And I cannot tell you how valuable that is in your life. Believe me, I've been reminded about it, ever since I got cancer, and now I'm part of a support group of people who have the same cancer, taking the same drug. And it's amazing just the things, just to know that they understand what's going on in my mind and understand, well, to a large extent anyway, who knows what's going on in my mind, really. I mean, think about that. But, it's just like, it's really important to have people that care about you. And, what I really like about that particular support group that I'm in is if I haven't checked in a couple of days, they send me a reminder to say, have you let us know how you're doing? Interesting. So, all right. So Alice is asking, is the ripple effect the same as the butterfly effect? I don't know. I don't know what the butterfly effect is. So give me some words around the butterfly effect. Or rather, if you hold on a second, I'll give you the definition of the ripple effect. But I would like to know what the butterfly effect is, now that I think about it. So before we go on, I'm not aware of anybody's birthdays or any sort of anniversaries today or this week. So if you're a regular viewer and you do have a birthday or an anniversary that we should know about, please let me know so I can add it to our database. The Dalai Lama said, just as ripples spread out from a single pebble dropped in the water, that was what the thumbnail picture was about. All right, the actions of individuals can have far-reaching effects. All right, and that's what a ripple effect is, that you do this, but the ripples of that go out and affect so many other people without you even knowing about it. So, Alice, is that the same as the butterfly effect? And what basically they said, it is proof that small actions can lead to much bigger changes, even if you can't see how far they have reached. And I think that's really important. I've got a lot of very caring people in my group of viewers. And I know that in their own way, each and every one of them has effect on other people that is immeasurable. All right, let me see what Alice says here. She said, the butterfly effect rests on the notion that the world is deeply interconnected, such as one small occurrence can influence a much larger complex system. Yes. So then I would say, yes, in its own way, it must be one and the same. So do you all agree that we all live stressful lives? It's just like, it depends what your stress area is, all right? Some of you have, stressful jobs. Some of us are, not working, but still have stress. We all have stress in our lives. Unless you're a Buddhist monk or something and you've managed to totally take all the stress out of your life. And if you have, congratulations. I'm working towards that. But, at the moment, I'm still pretty human. And so when I say pretty human, I haven't reached that nirvana place where I don't have any stress in my life at all, but I'm certainly better with it. Oh, Jonas is saying, I had the job interview over the phone on Friday. Thank my interviewer via email afterwards for the opportunity to interview with them. Good for you. That's called being polite. And people, a lot of people still really appreciate that. You know, the one thing I used to teach people, Jonas, just so you know, uh, even if you don't get the job, uh, it is really important that you understand that you keep in touch. And I want to tell you, some of the best ways to get a job is to say, hey, would you know anybody else who's looking for somebody with my skills? You know. So anyway, Hawkeye is saying, I'm anxious to hear back from them. So I'm wondering if it's a good idea to follow up tomorrow. That's Monday. No, you had the interview on Friday. All right. So he's saying, I want to know whether he should ask them to be notified with a decision to be made, regardless of whether I'm chosen or not. Um, I would say no, not quite that quickly. I would say if you haven't heard from them by Wednesday. All right. Now, interesting, Alice is talking about the stress issue, and she's saying, I refuse to let stress enter my orb again, her realm, if you like. And I want to tell you, I'm getting pretty good about keeping it out as well, Alice, and it is definitely to be recommended, right? And she's saying, I feel pressure now, but stress is different. Yeah. So well done on making that change in your life. So, um, I would say that if you are aware of being able to do that, it's really important. Hi, Jody. Good to see you. For those of you who don't know, Jody is our admin. Um, so how do we keep on smiling when, some of you, with all due respect, some of you've got job issues, some of you haven't got job issues, some of you got health issues, some of you've got financial issues, some of you've got relationship issues. Everybody's got a little area somewhere. And so I would say that, as Alice is saying right now in the feed here, she's saying, I don't have a choice. It made me really sick for a long time. Yes, being stressed out will make you even more sick than you already are, if sickness is your thing, or it will make you, spend money you don't have if financial things is your thing. It's amazing how these things have impact, isn't it? So what I want to do is to just make sure that you understand you're not alone. That's really the point that I'm trying to make here. And so, how do we keep smiling with bad things going on, stressful things going on? Well, you all know, because you've been around long enough to know, it's really important that you live one day at a time. And for some of you, you've learned that it's really important to maybe live 1 hour at a time. And for some of you, maybe it's even down to a minute at a time, depending. Maybe you're grieving. Maybe, you've got something like that going on where sometimes you just need to hold on to a minute here and there. Right. Just to go onto what Hawkeye's, otherwise known as Jonas, is talking about. He's had this interview and he's saying, okay, I don't want to appear too eager. Phoning tomorrow would be way too eager or desperate again. All right. But I just hate the anxiety of waiting and not knowing. That's on you, Jonas. What you need to do is to control you, not them. Does that make sense? All right. That's the whole thing. You need to learn to control you. And if you're good enough for the job in their eyes, if you are the right fit for them in their eyes, you don't have to worry. It might take them until next Friday to tell you. Why? Because they're busy telling everybody else that they haven't got the job. Or, whatever. They got other things to do. You might not be the most important thing on their to-do list every day. Does that make sense? Okay, that's being a little controlling. Am I making sense with it? It's like, yeah, I don't care what you got going on with your day, but I had an interview on Friday, and I want to know right now, have I got the job? I want to tell you, if somebody did that to me, they would go down a couple of rungs in my book, not up. All right. So Alice is saying, it also helps me to know that this too shall pass, and I've been through worse, so I can get through this. Or my success rate for surviving the bad days is 100% so far. Yes, excellent. All right. And Jonas is saying it's a very good opportunity in a place close to his home and close to his mum's work, and at a good rate too. Yeah, absolutely. Now the thing is this, Jonas, if in the meantime you need some support, you know how to get hold of me, right? So if you're beginning to freak out a bit and so forth, and feel free to write to me if you want ideas on this one. Yeah, I think Wednesday is a very reasonable time to wait. And even then, I wouldn't sound, I would actually word it in a way that says, hey, you probably haven't had a chance to think yet because it's only Wednesday, but I just wondered if by any chance, you'd be able to let me know. Because I really, you know, yeah. Okay, big hug. All right, take it easy. I love this quote. It says, don't underestimate the ripple effect of what you do. These kinds of actions save these sort of actions have toppled empires. All right. So, what we're going to talk about is really not as much about anything other than how much influence you have without even realizing it. That's where I want to get to. For example, does the person who interviewed Jonas understand how much interviewing him has caused him stress? Now, if I knew that about Jonas, maybe I'd say, hey, maybe he's not the right fit if he stresses that easily. Did you think about it that way, Jonas? All right. So, yes, absolutely. We'll put up thoughts and prayers for you. All right. So, here we go. Let's talk about this. So, I thought I'd give you some examples, as usual, from my own life about how the ripple effect has affected me this week. All right. As you know, I go out of my way to make people smile during the week. And some of you know because you've received it. I go out of my way to make people laugh. I'll send them a text or I'll see a quote, or I'll go out of my way to make people think. So I'll put up a quote that I like during the week. But, it's a very selfish act on my part. I wonder if any of you can relate to that, because I feel good when I do it. When I put up a quote, I think, oh, Alice will like that one. Or I'll think, boy, that's probably something that Jonas needs to hear this week. You see, I sort of have in my mind, I have you guys attached to it. All right. It's never a single thing for me. And it's a very selfish thing because I know by doing it, I feel better as well. All right. That I took the moment to do it. And so I try to do it in the morning when after I sort of check my emails and then I think, okay, who shall I send a note to today? And it sort of rotates. Some days I do some people and some days I do other people. Yes, Alice is saying, I try to leave people at least a tiny bit happier than when I met them, leave places a little cleaner than when I arrived, and so forth. Very good action in terms of the ripple effect, right? So I have to say that the simple act of doing that makes me feel good. And therefore, I don't have as much disease, all right? And it is important to me that I keep doing little good things to help me go through my day, knowing that in turn that will have a ripple effect going down other people's. It's amazing how it works. If you've ever walked down a street, and you can imagine I do that quite a bit, I'll walk down a street and I've got a big smile, right? And I will smile at people. And I've noticed that if I walk down the street smiling and I get eye contact with people, people are inclined to smile back at me. And by the way, I've noticed another thing, which is if I smile and nod at them, they're inclined to smile and nod back at me, saying, I got it. And that makes me smile all the more, right? And it's just like, it's such a fun game to play. Now, you and I both know that they're the other people, right? They take one look at you smiling and they scowl at you because they want to know what's going on with her. Is she a Looney Tune or something? And you can tell just, the face changes and they're almost angry that you're happy. Have you ever had that? And, I don't stop to tell them, hey, I've got my own problems, buddy, right? But, it's just like, I realize that those people deserve an even bigger smile, right? I mean, they're really hurting. Alice is saying here, because I'm challenged by both my physical and my mental health, I can't do big tasks all at once. None of us can, Alice. But if I do a little every day, the tasks shrink every day. And that's what I'm going to be talking about right now. So hold on a second. Well done, Alice. I'm glad you've learned that lesson. So these people who scowl at you because you're happy, we've all had it, haven't we? They almost resent the fact that you're happy. And I go through life going, hey, I'm so sad for them. All right. And it's really funny. I found that it's strange how people do react to you being happy. I don't know if any of you've had that happen to you. So look at it and just go, you're not going to, as usual, you can't make everybody happy, right? It's not within your ability. So I want you to be aware of that and to understand it. I've got this quote here and it says, there is a ripple effect to everything. Everything you think, everything you say, everything you do, everything you feel, everything you choose, everything you choose to believe in, everything you choose to be, and either you cause it, you create it, call it forth into your life, right? Call it into your life, right? Choose it or allow it. How about that? Pretty powerful stuff, I think. So when we understand that, I want to just take a moment and give a shout out to the Decluttering Club. A few of us, as I think some of you know, decided to start a decluttering club. And I want to give a shout out here to Jody, Lauren, and Kanzi, who are part of that club, the group, and thank them for the ripple effect they've had in my life, right? Their willingness to join the group and support me in trying to declutter has inspired me to do so much in my second bedroom, otherwise known as my storage locker. And, it's been such an amazing process. And I'm certain some of you will relate to this. And Alice was just saying that because what I do is I undertake to do something in there every day. Doesn't matter how small. Every day, as a part of my morning routine, is have I been into that room and taken something out of it? Now, the interesting thing is I rarely take one thing out of it. I nearly always take a handful of things, right? And then what I do is I will take that handful of things and I will put it on my freezer. Just lay it out on my freezer. Why? Because I don't like things on my freezer. I use it for my crafts. So every time I walk past it during the day, I will pick something up and go, well, that can go. And I chuck it. Or I will go, now I know I got a place where I keep glue. So I'll put that in with that. And so, in no time at all, the freezer is cleared again. Hawkeye is saying that I find that when I'm overwhelmed, I make a list and start with the one thing that would take me the least amount of time and effort and go from there. Very good idea, right? If I'm cleaning, I put a timer on for 15 minutes so I can see how much I can get done. And usually that motivates me to do more. But I'm amazed how much I can get done in just 10 minutes at a time. That's why our decluttering club, you only need to say that you've done 15 minutes or 2 grocery bags have left your house of stuff. So let me show you part of where my thinking is on this, and so you can understand how this works. I will start off with a box like this. Now, you probably all know how much junk you can get into. I think this is a 1.5 How big is this? 1.2 cube? 1.5 cube. Okay. So you probably know, and it is marked studio, which is the room that it's in, which means 90% of the time it's got crud in it. Right? But here's my goal. My goal is not to empty the box, right? Because that's overwhelming because I know it's got a lot of crud in it. My goal is, can I empty it down into a banker box? In other words, that I come down from this size and manage to get things put away and to have things in different banker boxes. So it comes out of the big box and gets sorted into banker boxes. Then at least I know this one is an office box, this one is art, paints and things and brushes, and then I can work from there. Now, the reason I need to do that is the reason I stalled on downsizing in that room or, decluttering in that room was because I didn't have places to put things. What I'm trying to do is to halve how much is in there so I've got room to build another unit. So that's how I'm doing. Get from a big box full of crud down to, and by the way, when I finished emptying the last big box, it wasn't that one, it was another one, I ended up with this much in a box. There's a coat hanger. There was a really nice quote that I found that says, it has a lot to do with attitude, all right? Which is so true, isn't it? Talk about ripple effect. For some reason, it's got a jar in it. It's got a coat hanger in it. It's got one of these. So you understand that's, and an empty Irish Spring. Seriously. All right. So this is about, I don't have to do it all at once. What I need to do is just have I done something. So tomorrow I will take 5 things out of this box and put it on the freezer, or 6. Okay, that's all I have to do. Because if I've done that, then I know I am taking the steps I need to take. So I also don't need to empty a whole box, right? Just need to take some of it out. And the good news is, in this box that I opened has next to nothing left in it. Look at this. It's hardly got anything in it. And I opened another box first thing this morning just to see what was in there. And another box that I opened has all office stuff in it. Like it has sticky labels for address labels and all sorts of stuff like that quite honestly can go straight into my craft room and be put away in probably 2 days. So I can probably get rid of 1, 2, 3 different boxes this week just by doing a little bit each day. So, but if I think I've got to do it all, I will get depressed, right? That's just true. So, but the thing is, when I'm a happier person, because I'm not overwhelming myself, does that have a ripple effect on everybody else that I know? Yes. Because when I'm happier, the chances are I'm actually getting attracted to happier thoughts and happier quotes, and you understand, and therefore I'm passing it down. So when you look at things, that little thing about you don't have to empty a box, Sal. All you need to do is have the mentality is, can I get this box down from a big box into a banker box in a week? That's what I give myself, a week to do that. And, it's amazing how that has affected me. Now, one of the things I think that I did in that room, I also had a lot of recycling areas, where I was putting, paper and, single-use plastics and stuff like that. And what I did was I took the time last week to build 3 vertical cages out of wire cubey things, right? And I built these 3 cages. They're about this high by a foot, by like this, big enough to I can put a big plastic bag in with bulldog clips, all right? And now I've got a series of them. Yeah, one takes takes pop cans and stuff like that, and one takes single-use plastics, and one taking shredded paper. By the way, I give myself bonus points for every single. I've got a shredder, a cross shredder. Every time I fill up that cross shredder box, I give myself a happy bonus point because I know how much I hate dealing with old papers. Right. And some of my papers, I literally am finding stuff from, I'm trying to make sure I got this right, at least 12 years ago that I'm finding stuff. And I'm going, really? That's a long time to hold on to it. Probably more, some of them. This quote is to think about it. You have no idea of the countless lives you touch in the course of your lifetime. All right? Whether you're in a good mood or not doesn't matter. You will touch countless lives, whether you mean to or not. And that is the interesting thing to me, is whether we mean to or not. And so I urge you all to be so aware, all right, of what you are doing and why and how you are overwhelming yourself. Because when you overwhelm yourself, you're also likely to be overwhelming other people as well. Because you're getting upset, and therefore you're going to, probably call your friends, and you're upset with your friends. All right. Whereas if you just go, I have the rest of my life to get this sorted out. Yes, and Alice is saying be very careful not to compare your ripples with others. Now, I like to share my ripples with others rather than compare. But I understand what you're saying, you're right. Everybody's on their own journey. Some of you will take one look at my second bedroom called my storage locker and go, how can anybody have got that much stuff in there? You see, there are people who don't have my way of doing things, that haven't, downsized or had a fire in their house and unpacking for the second time. It's fine. You can't compare. I agree with you. It's very unfair to compare. Mother Teresa said, I alone cannot change the world, but I can cast it a stone and cast that stone across the waters to create many, many ripples. All right. I want to tell you, when I look in that room every day and see more and more carpet, I smile every time. And I really want to give a shout out to the decluttering group, because it is because of your support. And by the way, I have such joy each time I know that I've opened up another section of carpet. I take a picture and send it to them. They probably think it looks the same, but I know it doesn't. All right. I know it doesn't look the same. Alice is saying, but it's a human reaction to have a tendency to compare. Absolutely. And, you can tell somebody not to, and they still will. All right. So if my attitude is, let's do what we can. Let's do what we can in our lives to be aware of what we're doing and how much we're creating our own stress. So, like a lot of you, we had some pretty freaky weather. Pretty freaky weather coming in. And we knew the snow was coming in last night. And I heard that we could get up to 9 inches, which for where we live in southern British Columbia, that's like serious trouble for us. So what happens to me is when I hear we're going to get that sort of level of snow, I get uncomfortable. Why? Because I am not good at shoveling anymore with all that's going on in my life. So that's a worry. And then the next thing is, I know the snowplow is going to come and snowplow the road, but what it does is it then dumps snow at the bottom of my driveway. And if we have a lot of snow, like we did last night, it's going to, I keep looking to see how we're doing here. It's going to dump a lot of snow at the bottom of my driveway just as it goes by. It just dumps snow on the side. And, then therefore, will it affect my ability to be able to get out if I have an emergency? So the idea that we're about to get snow causes a little bit of concern for me. especially when it's a big dump like that. So I went through my usual pre-snow routine. I don't know what you do prior to having um, snow, but I have a routine that I'm going to talk about in a minute. But I did watch it start to snow. And then I stayed up very late last night. I was busy working on a project, and I literally took a picture of it around 3 o'clock, I think, 3:30 maybe, even that late. And it was about 6 inches deep at that point, and I'm going, that's going to be a lot of snow. And then I went to bed to go and watch a movie. And by the way, I have, for those of you who like romantic comedies, if you haven't seen the uh, romantic comedy what's it called? Let me think here. Your Place or Mine, I think, with Ashton Kutcher and Reese, Reese Witherspoon. I want to tell you, just a feel-good movie. You know what I mean? One of those ones where you know the ending before it starts, but it's just like, how do they get there? And I just thoroughly enjoyed it. So can you imagine that starting a movie at 3 o'clock, 3:30 in the morning wasn't the best idea in the world? I could hear a lot of people judging me on that one. What are you doing that for? You should be asleep by now. And I'm going, no. No, no, I worked a lifetime for the right to go to bed whenever I want to or not. All right? It's just like I get to choose now. Nobody gets to tell me what time to go to bed. I'm a big girl. And if I want to stay up and watch a movie through the night, that's my right. And I won't be working on everybody else's daytime calendar, but I'll be working on my own. So I did, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, by the way. It brought me joy. It made me laugh. I slept really well after I finished it. By the way, Alice is saying she loved it too. And it was just like, I knew that I didn't have anything really important to do today other than do the broadcast. So I was quite happy because I knew, as long as I got up by this time, I could put it all together and be ready for the broadcast. So this morning I got up and I sort of pottered to the coffee maker, made my coffee, and I took my coffee to my bay windows. I got two big bay windows at the front here, and I took it and I lifted the blind on one of the bay windows, and because I wanted to see how bad was it overnight. I saw what the snow plow did, but then did it get worse later? And to my absolute amazement, I was looking at a clear driveway. Right? I was looking at a clear driveway. It was like the snow fairy had arrived and overnight had blessed my driveway, and there was no snow on my driveway at all. It was pristine. So then you sort of smiled and you go, who did that? You see, did it have a ripple effect on me? Uh-huh. And I went, I wonder who did that. So now I'm, pretty smart. So I look up and down the road to see who else has got a clean driveway. That'll give me a pretty fair indication of who it might be. All right. Because chances are they were out doing theirs and then said, let me do Sal's while I'm at it. So I narrowed it down to a couple of neighbors that had clean driveways, and I was pretty sure which one it was. So I was about to write, but before I did, I just happened to check on my text messages, phone messages. And there was a phone message from the daughter of my friend who died of cancer about a month ago. You remember that? It was her daughter that had come 5 houses down and cleaned my driveway. Now, her daughter is probably in her 40s, I would think. Why? Why? And I got to think about it. And then I wondered what had her mummy told her about me before she died that would leave enough of an impression on her that when she was cleaning her driveway, for her daddy, because she's living with her daddy there at the moment, that she would think to take the time to come down and shovel mine. I don't know, but I want my friend in heaven to know how grateful I am. And the ripple effect her kind words about me must have been to have that effect a month later. Did you understand what I'm saying? And I obviously thanked her profusely for what she had done. But it was just like, wow, that came from way back. And I wonder what she said that had that impact on her daughter. And I will ask her, what was it that went through your mind? What made you do it? And have you any idea, not only what effect it had on me, but because of the effect you had on me, what effect it has on my viewers? And it says, even the smallest act of caring for another person is like a drop of water. It will make ripples throughout the entire pond. I think about the kindness of Jeannie when she bakes for other people, or Jody when she bakes for the people above her that are constantly causing floods in her bathroom. You know, it takes great love to be able to do that and to get joy. Um, Jeannie spends her time making, things for her vet and for her groomer and, well, her dog's groomer, and things like that. And it's just like, I know that the joy they get from doing it far surpasses the joy other people get. You see, that's the thing. It starts with you. It makes you feel good to then have that effect on other people. And each time you give that other person, you pay it forward. Remember that movie? Each time you pay it forward that way, you do understand that that gets the other person in a mood to pay it forward as well. Maybe to the next client, maybe to the next dog that they see, maybe to whatever it is. It definitely gets paid forward. So here's another thing that happened this week. Talk about ripple. One of the things I do when I'm getting ready for snow is I go and collect the mail in case I get snowed in. And that happened to me once. So what I did was I went, okay, fine, I need to go and collect the mail, which I did. But on my way back, I was really struggling to walk. My right hip was so painful that I actually had to stop. And I realized halfway back that I didn't have my cell phone with me, which is very unusual. And what I found is that it really, I don't know, it really was painful. And that made me so sad. And what I realized was, my gosh, is my life really going to go downhill this quickly? I've only been on this drug for 10 days and already I can hardly walk. What's going to happen in a month? All right. Now that's a ripple in the opposite direction where, you awfulize it. But, I had every reason to be concerned about it because I know the side effects and I understand that these things are going to happen. But I did manage to get myself home. And as I'm thinking about it and worrying about how quickly that had happened, I happened to notice, amazing how this happens, happened to notice out of my peripheral vision, on the side there, I noticed my Tylenol for arthritis bottle was in totally the wrong place. And the reason it was in totally the wrong place is because it's part of my weekly medication stuff. I have one cubie where I throw all my weekly meds in. So when I go to refill my meds, I just pull the cubie out, open up the pill box, and I go next. Oh, and then I take all the bottles out of the cubie, right, and put them in my sink. And then I go at 7. Yeah, and then that goes clunk back into the cubie. And then pick up the next bottle, I go 7 into there. And I've got this system, right? I don't even have to think. I just know I just keep opening bottles and moving it from one side into the pill box and then to the other. Understand? Takes me just a couple of minutes to get my meds ready for the week. So when I saw the Tylenol for arthritis bottle in some place where it was not in the cubie, I thought, how long has that been there? And then I thought back to something that had happened last week where I needed an extra Tylenol. And I realized I never put it back into the QB box, which means I didn't put it into my weekly meds. All right. And that's why I had so much pain. It wasn't the other cancer thing pill. It was the fact I wasn't taking my Tylenol for arthritis. I didn't realize I wasn't taking it, but that's what caused it. So I took one yesterday, and I knew it would probably take a couple of days of taking it for it to dull the pain, but I got good news for you. Feeling so much better today. And how many of you are feeling so much better to hear that I'm feeling so much better? You know what I mean? It's just like that is a ripple effect as well. It is said that sins are like ripples in the water when a stone is thrown into it. One produces another. When anger was in Cain's heart, murder was not far off. You see, your anger, your negativity is a ripple as well. Remember, as soon as I felt that excruciating pain, I thought I was destined, not to be a happy person very long. And then I was already starting to think I may need to downsize completely because I won't be able to look after the gardens and do everything else here if I'm in this much pain. I'm going to be basically have to live a different life. Jody's saying that makes me happy that you're doing better. Yeah, exactly. It's a ripple effect. And I know that you feeling better makes me happy. So it's you know, an ever turning ripple effect. So what I want you to understand is sometimes we just got to do the right thing. Ah, that's so cute. Alice is saying, I can't help caring about you, Sal. Yeah, that's really kind of you. Thank you, Alice. No, and it goes both ways. It's funny. Alice is saying she's so glad that I don't keep regular people hours because she's in Denmark. And if I kept regular people hours, she probably wouldn't hear from me as much as she does. So, it's like everything has a good part to it, as far as I can see. So, do you understand that once the Tylenol started to kick in, I was writing much happier notes to people? Although I was still sending happy notes, but they were at a different level. Why? Because I wasn't in pain anymore. And I didn't have part of my mind going, I wonder how much I'm going to need to sell the house for so that I can get help. All these sort of things. But, the ripple went even further. It was really strange. Because you remember I got into bed to go watch that movie. And I was in quite a zen place when I did that. I was good. I'm going to sit down and lie down and watch this movie. And I've got an adjustable bed. So I grabbed my clicker, as I call it, my remote, and I pressed a button, but I pressed the wrong one. And the reason I know I pressed the wrong one is suddenly both the head and the feet moved together. Now, that only happens if I hit a certain button that hasn't been working for 3 or 4 months now. Just every time I press it, it doesn't work. Last night, I hit it by accident, and it worked. And what it is, this is going to make some of you really smile. What it is the button that turns my bed in a position that I'm going to do it this way, where the head comes up a certain amount and the feet come up a certain amount, and it ends up putting you in what they call zero gravity. All right, where it's like 35% on the legs and about 20 or something on the head. And when you've got that, you've got like they do on the spacecraft, it's zero gravity on your joints. So a really good thing when you're my age. That hasn't worked for months. All right. I'm going, and I hit that by accident. I didn't do anything. I just happened to hit it by accident last night, and it worked. How happy do you think I was? I'm going, I've got zero gravity. I'm going to sleep even better. Hey. And how many of you feel better hearing that? You see? And that's what I want you to understand. It's a good idea to share these good things with people because other people will enjoy it. I got old bones and old aches and pains are going to hit me more and more. even without the drug that I'm taking. So, what I want you to do is be really aware about what's going on. All right. And, Jeannie's saying she really wishes that the snow fairy would come and do her driveway. So, one of the things that I know is it's going to be really important, Jeannie, for you to decide, now that can't, you don't have York around to do things to help you, to decide what things do you want to spend money on. What do you, and think about that in realistic terms. If clearing the driveway is good for your safety and so forth, what I've been thinking about is obviously this lady that did my driveway is not going to be here for very long because they're putting the house up for sale. But it's just like, have I now got to the point where I need somebody to come in? So Jeannie's saying I pay a plow guy for every storm. Okay, so you have done that already. Well done. Yeah, Alice is saying remember to share the good stuff. It's so easy to get wrapped up in complaining, all right? And so what I want you to do is to start saying to yourself, what do I want to spend my money on? All right. Maybe now is the time to reassess that. And yes, I quite agree. You've got the sort of driveway that needs a professional to do it. When I say a professional, it's not something you should be doing at your age, Jeannie, and you know that. Now, if you've got to eat baked beans on toast, for a couple of months during the winter so you can afford that, I'm pretty certain that's not a bad idea. Yeah, and a neighborhood girl shoveled your front and back steps recently. And I am certain, knowing you, and I think you did tell me what you did, and I can't remember what you did to thank her, but that you made it well worth her while, all right? Either in love or kindness or whatever, that she would think to do it again. And how important it is for her to know what an incredible difference that is for you. I saw a couple of people, Jeannie, and I've never seen that here in this neighborhood before. I saw a couple of really intelligent young teenagers, two guys. I would say they were probably 13, 14, maybe that age, with a couple of big snow shovels. Guess what? They were walking through the community. I would have paid them willingly, to do my driveway. So yes, and that's what I thought. Jeannie that seemed to remember that. Jeannie's saying I paid her and gave her a New York blueberry bagel. You see? Make it well worth her while to come back and do it again. So think about this, all right? You might also, if you choose to, find a group of friends who help you take one more step in your second bedroom, or in my case, the storeroom. You might join just a group somewhere that inspires you to do something other than DearMamaSal. All right. And what I want you to do is be aware. What do you want help with this year? Join a group. I'm amazed at things I've learned from the group that I've joined about the drug that I'm taking. Now, what I know is the chances are the majority of people who join that group will be talking about negative effects of the drug, right? Because that's why most people would join a group. What I'm trying to do is find the people who've been on it for 5 years, because that's how long I've got to be on it for, and have chosen to help other people. And I just, want to know from them certain things, all right? It's not that I want to hear the bad stuff. It's about I want to deal in reality. Yeah, Alice is saying, I feel lucky I live in an apartment complex where the maintenance is taken care of, even if they have to start at 5 a.m. when it snows. I want to tell you, they did this here about 4 o'clock in the morning. They came and did this. Yeah, and I think what they do, Alice, is they have to wait until the snow has stopped, all right? And maybe it's only stopped for the next 6 hours, but it has stopped. Once the snow stops, and most snowstorms, it snows and it stops for a while and then it snows again. They come in when it's stopped, whatever time that is. And they can, the meteorologists will tell you it's going to snow for the next 3 hours. I've now got mine so it tells me how long it's going to snow for. So to me, joining a group had a huge ripple effect on me. Having the group that's decluttering with me has had a huge, huge ripple effect on me. And, maybe you, if you have this, will have the ripple effect of accidentally pressing a button that makes something work that hasn't worked for a long time, like I did. And then you're going to be even happier than you were before. Interesting. Alice is saying that I have some good news and it's in line with the ripple effect. Can you share it? Absolutely, Alice. Go for it. You see, to me, it's like when we create the ripples, when we start them, we can only benefit from them as well as everybody else that will do it. All right? And that to me is the most magical thing. It doesn't matter how much you're hurting at the moment, emotionally or physically, doesn't matter what's going on. Make the time to start a ripple. Make the time to start a ripple. All right? Because what you will find is your life changes when you do. Be the ripple. Be the drop. Be the ripple. The student. The learner. Be the drop. The teacher. The inspirer. Be the drop. I think it's so important that we understand that we control the ripple. And you're saying, yes, but why would I make everybody else happy when I am the one that needs the support? I want to tell you one of the best lessons I learned in my life came from a physiotherapist who was working on my body one day. And he said, boy, you are really tense. What are you so angry about? And I said, funny, you should ask me that. How much time have you got? And, I was really angry about a relationship that was going on. And he said, so Sal, tell me, what do you want? I said, what? He said, what is it that would make you happy now? Is it more love? Is it more caring? What is it that you're missing? And he said, because if you want those feelings back in your life, try giving them to others. I'm going, they don't need it, I do. And he said, that's the whole point. Try giving it to others and see what happens. I want to tell you, it changed my life when I realized it works. Alice is saying, on the 2nd of March, I'm going to be part of a group that will develop a program to help mothers with mental struggles who struggle with taking care of their kids. Wow, you got so much experience with that one, Alice. You're going to be so useful for people. And, you have so much to share and support people. I am delighted to hear that. So, yes, how many people do you know that in the face of terrible trauma, they've had a child killed or something like that, they start up a foundation and spend the rest of their life, all right, helping others cope with what they had to cope with. In other words, instead of hating for the rest of their lives, they actually set up a foundation and work tirelessly every day to help others. And that is the way they share their love rather than their grief. And that's the way they keep the memory of their loved ones alive in a very positive way. And I think it is awesome. And I look at it all and go, this is all about choices, isn't it? We can choose every day how much we want to struggle or how much we want to love. We can choose every day how overwhelmed we want to be or how much discipline we're going to have and go, it is totally unrealistic to think that I can empty that in a day because I can't. I don't have that sort of time. However, 5 bits within my ability. Can I take 5 bits out of a box and put them away somewhere or get rid of them? Yes. Then let me do that. But let me do it consistently. And then the ripple effect will be I will clear these boxes. After 2 years, they'll be gone. And then in this summer, I will start in my shed. And by the time I've done that, it'll probably be time for me to move again. But at least I will have downsized. And by the way, it is my intent to keep doing it, to keep rotating through the house and keep, the banker boxes that I'm collecting things in now. The trick is to go back in another year and get those down. Because my next move, I know, will be from this amount of space that I have, which is incredible, um, down to something half the size at most. So I need to simplify my life. Yeah, it's interesting. Alice, I don't want to repeat that unless you want me to. Um, I mean, I know the story and I know you're sharing it with the people in the chat, but I'm not sure if you want that in general. Okay. Alice, I just need a bit of background for this. Alice made a decision to actually leave her son with his grandparents. I think I'm correct on that one. While she went and sorted out her life. She had some physical issues going on. She had some mental health issues going on. And she did not feel that she was adequately equipped to look after her son. And a lot of people judged her for that. A lot of people thought she was wrong for that. And what she said was she would rather that her son Thor be loved and in a good place with a good roof over his head and plenty to eat and all those sort of basic things covered were far more important at that time. And she did, of course, whatever she could to be in his life, but basically she wanted to make sure he had the best upbringing possible. All right. So Jeannie's saying what she's noticed is because she's alone now, as we're similar in that, right? It's more difficult to bring in all my groceries. Therefore, I leave the bottled water in the car and bring it in later, one at a time. Yes, but remember, I was just going to say, remember they're going to freeze in the car. Yeah. So, um, what I would recommend, Jeannie? Why not buy like a zero filter for inside the house, like I have, rather than buy bottled water? Why don't you buy something that will filter your water for you, so you don't have to, you don't have to keep throwing plastic away and all the rest of it. So that is a thought, right? Would save you a lot of worry of having to carry bottles and things. Alice is saying the story about Thor. He's now 70. Is he really? He's 17 and a half now and thriving. And we are incredibly close. So obviously his grandparents did a great job of not using what you did against you. All right. And that he knew that you had done it out of a place of love, not out of a place of not wanting him. It is said that you can create a difference in somebody's life. You not only impact their life, but you impact everybody influenced by them throughout their entire lifetime. No act is ever too small. One by one, this is how we make an ocean rise. And I don't know about you, but that touches at my very soul. Doesn't have to be a big act. Just wake up every day and go, I've checked my emails now. What one thing can I do for one person? It's so cute, Alice is saying. It's really weird to me that I'm the mum of a 185 centimeter tall guy with a full beard. What's 185 in American? 2.25 to hmm, that's quite big. That's sort of like almost 6 foot, isn't it? No, it can't be 10 feet. You have not got a 10-foot child. No, I don't believe that. 6 feet, I will believe. 10 feet, I don't believe. Hang on a second. Alexa, how many feet in 185 centimeters?
185 centimeters is about 6 feet 1 inch.
Yeah, 6 foot 1 inch, Alice. That's what I thought. About 6 foot is what I said, right? Yeah, it's 6 foot 1 inch. Thank you, Alexa. I would, I don't know why. I don't know why Google hasn't trained Alexa to take compliments or to say thank yous. Because I don't know about you guys. I keep thanking her, and she never says it's a pleasure. Manon would say it's a pleasure. But yeah, Alexa never does. And it would make me feel so much better if they did. So, just a thought. And by the way, when somebody thanks you for something kind that you did, please don't say, no, it was nothing. Don't worry. Say it was my pleasure. Don't say it was nothing. Because it was something. Believe you me, it was something. What you did was something. While it may seem small, the ripple effects of small things is extraordinary. And so as you go through this week, I want you to think about that. I want you to think about what can I do to lift my mood today so that I in turn lift other people's moods. Oh, that's so cute. Alice is saying, Manon, any updates from her and the pink ponies? Well, she's still into the pink ponies and everything else like that. She's had a tough year, actually, Alice. Um, but, it's Manon, and she just keeps taking one step at a time. And it is my absolute joy in my experience that not only did I get to meet you one on one, but also that I got to meet Manon. Because I want to tell you that in reality, Manon is absolutely everything I ever expected of her. Or, funny enough, I had hoped of her. You know what I mean? She was just so cute as a button. She was like instantly my daughter without my even knowing it. And it was just, I loved her to bits from the moment I met her in reality and I still laugh when I talk to her. She makes me laugh a lot. And it's an absolute pleasure to stay in touch. And she does do well to stay in touch. She's got a busy life, and we all do. But she has made time to stay in touch with me, and for that I thank you, and as you have done. And I thank you for that, because this is a time where it makes a difference to me as well. And I hope you know that. It's so nice to know that you care enough. And I don't, there's part of me that goes, I don't feel I did a lot to deserve that, but I am grateful that you do. It's so cute. Alice is saying, not only did we meet, we went to Vegas and we sat in a hot tub together, drinking until 4 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, I know, and survived. And we went to Baker. And I saw tumbleweeds. And the scariest people I've ever met. And you guys left me there on my own. I will not forget that. Yeah, but it was funny. Really funny. And just remember this, people, that the world is definitely a better place just to have you in it. I don't care how bad a day you're having. I know that somewhere out there, there is somebody who has a better life because you are in theirs. And aren't I so fortunate that I have all of you to just bring so much light and fun and love into my life on a weekly basis. I really want to say I'm most thankful. And for all the people who may listen to this in the replay or whatever, don't ever think that you don't have an effect. You do. Alice is saying, did you know that laughing can be measured in the body for 3 hours when you laugh alone and 6 hours if you laugh with others? Well, I want to tell you something. I think this is the greatest joy that we have. You know, when we can, by the way, look at ourselves and laugh at ourselves. How many of you can imagine when I looked at that Tylenol bottle, I'm going, what the is that doing there? And then it went, and I went, how long has it been there? Well, no wonder you're in pain. But you know, was there an upside? I had no idea that my right hip was feeling, had that much arthritis in it. So in a way, it was a good thing that it happened. But I could just imagine you all hearing that and going, yeah, Sal, it really helps if you take the meds. That's what pain meds are for. And boy, did it work quickly. It was amazing how quickly it went. And for those of you who watch Friday's broadcast with the slicer on Friday evening, I cannot tell you how much I appreciated that slicer. I sliced all the ham on yesterday. I sliced all the ham up. And I probably could have cut them even thinner than I did, but I've left them like that. I realized that I can now fry those, and I've got bacon. If I wanted to, what do you call it? Canadian bacon. I can, do so many things with what I did. But, the incredible thing was I was rushing to get to do the broadcast today, and I realized I hadn't had anything to eat yet, and I definitely need to have something to eat. So, because, I'm a diabetic. So what I did was I rushed and I grabbed a pita that I'd already made, and I, went to the, excuse me. I went to my deli drawer, and guess what? I've got sliced ham, and I also had sliced cheese, which you saw me do. And I'm going, oh yeah, this is going to pay for itself in no time. Yeah, Alice is saying, oh, she's laughing her what's it off. She said, I know that to be true. When I was out of pain meds for a week, and it made me pay more attention, so it won't happen again. Yeah, I want to tell you that life has a wonderful way of sending us these messages. And who knew, Alice, 10 years ago, whatever it is now, that we would all, meet together and go and change Erin's life, which I believe we did. In our own way, our little selfless act, if you like, of going to see Erin, I believe is a memory that will last her a lifetime. But it certainly had an impact on me. I want to tell you that meeting Erin made me realize just how fortunate I really am. And when I was in pain yesterday, I thought this is nothing. This is probably Erin's probably dealing with this and more. Jodie's probably dealing with this and more. So the main thing is, how are you going to get home? And I could hear that voice in my head. Why did you not make sure you had your phone with you? Well, I'm going to be twice as careful about taking my phone with me. And I hope that ripple effect goes down and goes, that's why we're so lucky with the technology today. And, when I look at all the things I did to get ready for the snowfall, it is amazing when I think about it. You have watched me step by step get myself better equipped for snow, because snow here means power outages. Power outages in this house means I also lose water. And so it's a case of, I don't want to be that much of a girl guide and be prepared for everything. But boy, if I want to have a normal existence, I need to be really prepared. But imagine what it's like. In the space of the 2 years, I have learned to have a little mini, that backup battery of mine, which I now know will run a full power bar of computers LED light, keep charging my phone. And it's going, why did I not think to ask that question? But I spoke to the manufacturer and said, okay, this is my situation. How much can I run off that? And then I thought to ask them, can I also run my mug warmer off it at the same time? And they said, and I told them how many wattage the mug was. Yeah, absolutely. They said, you can do that. Yeah, I went, oh, this is getting so much better all the time. By the way, if ever you want heat and you haven't got it, you do know that a tea light in a tin can on a plate um, will give you incredible heat. Or a tea light, in fact, a tea light on its own gives out incredible heat. If you happen to have like $5 worth of those tea lights and you put about 10 of those on, it will be amazing how much heat you put in the house. If you've got a small room, but make sure, it's live flame, so make sure you're safe. But you'll be amazed how much heat that can put into your house. The other thing is if you have a clay flower pot, right? Put a tea light on a plate and with the um, terracotta flower pot on top of it. That acts as an incredible heat source. Yep, there you go. Alice is saying the same thing. So, aren't we lucky to have all this knowledge today that we never had? You see, I keep looking at it and going, how fortunate I am to have what I've got going on at this time in my life, where all this technology, all these support groups are available to me just at the click of a button. And not even a power outage is going to stop me being able to get that help if I need it. I think it's pretty special. Now, there we go, people. So there we go. Understand the ripple, but most of all, start the ripple. You will feel better. You will feel happier, and you will feel the effects of it. Sometimes, a long time later, look at that whole thing. What was it that I did to her mum that made her daughter, months later, do such a kind act for me? Or what did I do to her that she felt that love? Yeah. Alice is saying, I have a lot of survival skills, but hopefully I'll never need it. I want to tell you, you'll be amazed. I want to say that I was a happy camper. I used to camp a lot in my trailer. That did me more good about survival. And I really recommend that everybody should take their children and grandchildren camping on a regular basis. Get them away from, fresh water from a tap, from a faucet. Get them away from, and let them realize how lucky they are to have electricity. Let them know how lucky they are to have Wi-Fi. All those things. Because until you live without it, but also remember that when you live without it, I think Jody made this point as well, which was she was out without her television for some days. Can't remember how many days you said, Jody, because of the electrical problem that's happening in her apartment. And she said she couldn't believe how quiet it was all the time. And 4 days without a television, all right? Now, aren't you lucky that you have a smartphone? My fridge is making the most incredible noise. It's so cute. You think about, I'm certain you gave thanks for having a smartphone, that you probably got a tablet that you gave thanks for. You know what I mean? It's just like, isn't it amazing the things that we have today that we, yeah, most of the people in the world would give their back teeth to have the sort of luxuries that we have. Yeah, exactly. Alice is saying those skills helped me cut way down on my expenses as well. That's what I was saying. I spent about $50 Canadian on a slicer, and I reckon it will cut the cost of deli meat for me down to about a half or a third, or cut it down 2/3 rather. just by having a slicer, that I can buy a whole thing of ham and slice it up, as I did, right? And because I have a piece of deli meat in my pita every day. So to me, it's just like I was reading about this family, and they reckon that they saved $400 a year by getting a slicer. Yeah, Alice is saying, I was brought up with a home slice, yeah, and now I have one of my own. What I found is I used to have one, Alice, and for some reason it was one of the things that got downsized years and years and years ago. And I'm going, you know something? I want to start buying more things in bulk and then slicing them up and freezing them so that I can save that money. There's no doubt about it. It's well worth it. And we did some comparisons on all the different meats. What about sliced chicken? What about sliced, pork? What about sliced? It was amazing. Right. And Jeannie's saying that the slicer is a great money saver, and I decided to buy a Ninja air fryer, right? Now, mine is a caloric, but I want to tell you something. How many times have I used my oven in the 2 years I've lived here? Once, I think. Maybe twice. Both times when I had company, and I used it to keep things warm. I do all my cooking in that tiny little thing. All right? And it is amazing to me. I can fit a full roast in there. I'm gonna do a rotisserie soon. Very exciting. I hope I don't set off all the alarms. All right, everybody. So there we go. Keep looking at that. And by the way, each time we share these money-saving tips, you understand we are changing each other's lives dramatically, because everybody's going, yeah, that's a good idea. I should do that. Yeah, Alice is saying it's so worth it, and the time is well worth it. And just how much gas and energy you use not going to the store as often. Absolutely. Look at me. I always wanted to bake my own bread, and now I make the most beautiful pita breads every week. And I make my own bread. I'm going to be playing this week. I want to make some bread using yogurt. So that's going to be my next thing, just to play with that. So everybody keep making a difference. I know that you are people who do. It's not something you don't already do. I know you all already do. I'm just saying, know that you've made a difference in mine. Know that your stories help me tell stories to other people. That your willingness to let me share your stories helps people that we don't even know about and we may never, ever get to hear of. It always stuns me when people write to me and said, I've been listening for years now. I never, ever join the chat, but I listen to you all the time. So this is Dear Mama Sal saying, bless you all. Please know you make a difference. I don't care how sick you are, how tired you are, how snippy you are. Just know you still make a difference every day. The way that you live your life affects other people all the time. This is Dear Mama Sal saying, we'll see you next week. Bye-bye for now. Thanks for your help, Jody and Jeannie.